Alright, how's it going? Look, in this video what I'm going to be doing is talking about living in Sri Lanka for a year, slightly over a year in my case. Just a few kind of do's and don'ts, like, you know, schools, I've got kids, you know, renting a house, visas, costs, just a few sort of ups and downs and stuff like that. So maybe some of you will find it helpful. So I rented a house in the Ratmalana area, which is Mount Lavinia kind of thing, just slightly south of Colombo. When I say it's south of Colombo, it's like a 10-minute, 15-minute tuk-tuk drive to the centre, Galle Face area. So it's kind of, you know, still very built up around here. So I was paying 225,000 rupees a month, which is about $750 or hang on, yeah, $750 or like £600. That's quite a lot of money for Sri Lanka, but I've got a, you know, really nice house. I've got a detached 4-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms en suite, nice garden, security cameras, electric gate, fully furnished, full AC. Yeah, it's a really, really nice house. So that's what I pay, but you can get quite a bit cheaper for sure. So the house that I rented is, you know, pretty modern. It's quite new. I've got great neighbours, you know, and I quite like the neighbourhood as well. So of course, Colombo will be no surprise to you, is the most expensive part of the whole country when it comes to kind of renting, depending on where, but you know, like Colombo 7's pretty much right in the heart of it. You'll pay quite a lot there. But if you want to live outside of Colombo, you've then got Kandy and Galle. They're the kind of next most expensive, second and third place. And then after that, it depends literally where you are. But yeah, Colombo is definitely the most expensive area to be living in. Negombo's a good place to live. It's still kind of quite busy in the city. That's near the airport, and that will cost you about 40% less, maybe 50%. But like I say, I've got a family here. I've got my wife and 2 children. So yeah, if you're coming by yourself or just a couple or something, you don't particularly need this big old house that we've got. And it is a really beautiful, big old house. So my house doesn't include electricity or water bills, so that's a separate thing that comes. And electricity is not particularly cheap in Sri Lanka, so be careful with, you know, what you're spending here. You know, you'll see a lot of people always walking around turning ACs off and, you know, things like that, lights off quite a lot because of the expense. So how easy is it to rent a house? Well, it's unbelievably easy, like really simple. I can recommend something called Ikman. Ikman is basically Sri Lanka's kind of eBay, so you can buy anything on there. You can also, you know, get a house to rent. So choose an area, it will kind of narrow it down, choose the bedrooms, narrows it down, and then give them a few calls and things like that. Really simple. Legally, all you need is your passport. So you just need a passport, and you're going to need to pay a deposit. Some landlords might ask for 6 months, some 1 or 2. You can just negotiate with them. A contract will be made, pay what you need to pay, and then, yeah, get it checked by a local lawyer. But it's that simple. Job done, you'll get the keys. Okay, so let's talk about schools. Now, I'm not going to talk about this too long because most of you probably won't have kids. I've got 2 kids here, 13 and 11, and they went to a school here called LPF in Bellyfull, private school, English, of course. Really good, like they love it there. They love that school. It's a small school. I think it's only kind of 1 class per year. It's very small, but you know, there's lots and lots of different schools that you can check out all over the country, international schools. And I was paying just like £1,000 or $1,200 a year for each of them, which is unbelievably cheap. I mean, I've just come from the Middle East. I was paying like 10 times that there. So really cheap, and a beautiful school, like really good school, this place. So on top of that, you need to get your school books, pay for the school bus, and pay for school lunches. Again, nothing like in comparison to the West or the Middle East, you know, like Europe or America. It's a fraction. Beautiful people. And just to let you know that no matter what school you go to, if you're going to send them to school, education is taken really seriously here, so the standard is really good. And if you do have a child or children at school, you can use that to get a visa. You can get a guardian visa, but I'll get onto visas a bit later. Okay, I'm gonna go for a few of the nasties, the bad things. So I've got a list here, I'll be looking over there. So first of all, heat. It can be really hot here, depends on the region. Kandy's much cooler because you're kind of up in the hills there. So if you're not into heat, like Colombo kind of area where we are, the weather doesn't actually change that much. It rains quite a lot, but it's quite hot most of the year. Like right now, it's really hot out. Electricity is not particularly cheap here, so you have to kind of bear that in mind. Internet can be, or can seem a little bit slow if you're used to kind of like the Gulf area, or the Middle East has got really good high-speed internet, maybe UK, Europe, I don't know, America, but it's a little bit slower, I find, here where I am. It's not like rubbish, but, you know, it's just not as fast as, you know, other parts of the world that you might be used to. It's really, really easy to get, by the way. You just go to the main kind of company here is Dialog for mobile phones and internet. Again, you go down there, produce your passport and pay a fee for whatever you want. I got the maxed out thing. I don't know what it costs. Is it like $12 a month or something? It's not particularly expensive. And same with my telephone. I've got a kind of telephone package which is, it's like $4, £3 a month or something. It's unbelievably cheap. But yeah, so Dialog, that's the place you want to go. They do the internet and they do the telephones. Bugs, cockroaches, ants, insects. If you're not used to them, you're not going to like it here very much. They're kind of everywhere. Everywhere I've been, there's insects and stuff like that. It's very jungly here, isn't it? It's very lush and beautiful, and that in turn gives you kind of, you know, cockroaches, spiders, I've not seen that many spiders, just some small ones, but yeah, mosquitoes, It's all here, ready, waiting for you. Stray dogs, there's tons and tons of stray dogs everywhere. There's like 3 of them that hang outside my house every morning. You know, they're just there, they live there. Stray dogs is a big thing. I mean, they're usually okay. I think they're kind of used to people, but sometimes they do a lot of barking and, you know, might growl at you a bit, but yeah, just get used to that. A big thing that I find it really annoying and sad at the same time is beggars. There's a lot, like as a white person or a foreigner, like if I just stand still on the street, like within a minute, someone will come up and ask me for money, their hand out or whatever. You know, I smoke cigarettes, naughty boy. So if I pull a cigarette out, someone for sure is going to ask me for a cigarette. It's just annoying. I mean, a lot of people are just really poor, but at the same time, I think a lot of them are just fucking chances, to be honest. I think they're really chances, a lot of them. You can see who's really needs money. And I do give money, but I never give money to people that ask me. If people ask me, I just completely ignore them. But it's really obvious who, you know, needs money. And yeah, I just hand it over. But if you ask me, forget it. I've said this before in a previous video. The most dangerous thing in this country, without a doubt in my mind, are the buses. They're privately owned and they're everywhere, and they drive like bloody nutcases. Like even other like cars and tuk-tuks kind of just get out of their way. So you have to be really, really careful of these things. So yeah, I think they're the most dangerous thing in the whole country. So you can get a few power cuts here and there. So that's another thing to get used to. We recently had a really massive one. There was like the whole country went out for 6 or 7 hours or something. But it's quite common that the electricity or the power will go off for an hour or two. You know, maybe a couple of times a week, roughly. You know, but you know, it depends on the area that you live in. But yeah, get used to that. Plenty of battery packs and stuff like that. Emergency light bulbs are really good. And then we've got the white face price. So like if you're a foreigner, you tend to pay more for things, or you're expected to. You know, like even if you know, if you're going to go buy some chicken or something, you know, they'll just try and overcharge you usually, or just everywhere is a bit more expensive. So it's really good if you can, you know, go to places where you know, it's a fixed price. Like if you go to like the supermarkets, obviously the price is on everything, but they can, some people, not everyone, I'm telling you the bad points at the moment, they can kind of, you know, yeah, you're a bit of a white face, you're going to pay a bit more. Get used to that bit as well. So a great way of getting around, of course, is the tuk-tuk or the tuk. So with these, okay, again, with a white face or a foreign face, they will often not have the meter on. If the meter's not on, just do not get in it. Like, there's no shortage of them. Just, if the guy doesn't put the meter on, get out, just immediately, because you're going to end up having a big argument and paying loads of money for a really, really kind of cheap fare. So when you get into a tuk, currently, there's a charge straight away of 100 rupees. And yeah, I mean, if that's not on, just get out. That's what I'm saying. Just don't bother. Another one's like a minute behind it, max. So another thing you can use, a couple of really good apps. Uber, I'm sure you all know, but there's another thing in the country called PickMe. PickMe's very similar to Uber, basically. So if you use that, it's really good. I mean, you can pay cash or you can just charge your card, whatever, however you do it. But with these services, you can get like a 12-seater van, a car, a little car, a tiny car, or a tuk-tuk. So the whole range of stuff is on there. I think that's probably better for you to use and not deal with a lot of the tuk-tuk drivers. I mean, most of them are fine, to be honest, but yeah, it's just white face. So look, saying all that, okay, look, most people, I've been here, like I say, just over 1 year. Most people have been incredibly beautiful and kind to us. There are people out there trying to make a few quid. There's like, if you go to a temple or something, like a young kid or something will say he's going to look after your shoes or something. It's like, I don't need my shoes looking after while I go into a temple or something. And then they expect some money when you come out. There's all these kind of things which, I mean, they're not the end of the world. They're just a bit tiring. It's a little bit tiring, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It can't be solved, I don't think, until they become rich people, do they? Or, you know, they don't need to beg. But a lot of it, I think, a lot of it's a bit scammy. It's like, I think some of them are really poor. Some of them, I just think, like, that's it. That's just what they do now for a job, and it's kind of, they do all right, some of them. But yeah, you know who to give money to, for sure. You know, there'll be people with no arms, legs and stuff like that, little kids, da-da-da-da. It's all right, give them a little bit of money, no problem. But yeah, like I say, personally, if they ask me, no chance. All right, so getting a visa. So you'll come in on a tourist visa, which will be valid for 30 days. This might be different from whichever country you come from. Usually it's 30 days. You can extend that another 60 days, I think, or another 30 or 60 days, I think. It'll cost like, I just done it recently, in fact, yeah, I just done it recently. It was $85 for 2 passports, so it's just like, yeah, $40-something. And I used a service to do it. You can go and do it yourself. You will have to do it in Colombo. There's no offices around the country, apparently. So if you're somewhere else, you have to come to Colombo to do it. But for that amount of money, and they do it the next day, you'll get it back. To me, it's worth it. I mean, instead of pissing around down, you know, at government offices. So you can do that. Okay, then we spoke about school earlier. You can get a guardian visa. Like, I've got kids at school, so I'm their guardian, so I can get a visa, like a year visa or something. Now, you used to be able to buy 1 year visa, 2 year visa, I think even a 3 year visa, which is great, but you have to leave every 90 days or something like that. Then they changed it, and I think you can't get that now. Maybe they were really mucking about with the passport system, basically a few months ago, and they've now reverted back to the original one. But yeah, look. Anyway, look. There's a few tips for you there. Sri Lanka is really amazing. I really want to thank everyone who's helped us in Sri Lanka, and I mean, people are just generally brilliantly. You know, they're just amazing. They really have helped us a lot, and they've been wonderful. The bad people are outnumbered by the amazing people, by, you know, 100 to 1. But yeah, it's a lovely place. Get over here. If you want to just come and check it out for a holiday, it's just great. It's a great place. Sad that we've left, to be honest. Anyway, look, I hope that this helps. Check out some of the other videos that I've got there, where I'm kind of bumming around town eating and stuff like that, and telling you a few prices and things like that. If you need any advice, send us a message down below. I'll try and help you or something, or stick you in contact with someone that I know here that could help you. Anyway, see you later.